All right, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Championship Rounds podcast. We got a short one here today because nothing's really going on in MMA or even the fight world in general. For this episode, I got Jake
What's going on, guys?
and Nick.
How you doing?
All right, guys. We're going to be talking about the last fight night, which was Poirier versus Hooker, and what a main event it was. But we're gonna have to just fly through these prelims to get to that main card because it was really fun. So just to go through the prelims real quick, the first fight of the night, we saw Yusuf Zalal winning against Jordan Griffin by decision, unanimous decision. Kay Hansen defeating Jin Yu Frey by submission, and that submission was an armbar. And next we had Tanner Bozer, or Bose, whatever, TKOing Philip Lins, and Luis Pena losing to Karma Worthy by a guillotine choke. Jake, I'm going to shoot it over to you. What did you see out of these prelims?
All right. The Zalal fight was definitely the slowest fight of the prelims. He dominated the fight, but it was unanimous right off the bat. Of course, the phone's going to ring again. Wouldn't be a podcast without the phone. Doesn't ring all day except when I hit record. Wait for that to end.
No, you're good. Keep on going.
All right. I will say, though, Hansen is definitely somebody to watch. That was an impressive fight. Both her and Frey, this was their first UFC fight. Hansen's only 20 years old. She's, I believe, the second or third youngest fighter in the UFC currently. She's impressive. If she continues to fight like she did the other night, she could have a very long and successful career. She's definitely on my radar now. Let's see. Lins and Bozer. Bozer looked great. He lost a lot of weight. He came in very fit. Lins just fought a few cards ago against Arlovsky and lost. And Bozer came out very powerful, and he knocked Lins out with a great highlight. And Pena and Worthy, I mean, this was a pretty even fight. I mean, Worthy was winning on the striking, but Pena, had 3 takedowns. He had the control time. I was very surprised by the finish, though. I didn't expect Worthy to get a submission win, especially guillotine choke, because that's more of like Pena's area, the ground. But it's a good win. I thought it was a slow fight, but definitely a good win for Worthy.
How about you, Nick? You got anything?
I mean, my computer's acting up. I don't got too much on the prelims, to be honest. I missed most of it, so I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, yeah, this fight was good, that fight, because I missed a lot of it. But, I mean, I'll take your word for it. It was I don't know. I saw parts of, like, almost every fight, but just not enough to, like, really talk too much about it. On the prelims, at least.
Good job. Luis Pena, that's a big loss in his career right now. You want to see him starting to become more of a better fighter because he's got a great nickname. He's Violent Bob Ross. I mean, we want Violent Bob Ross, and he's Italian. I mean,
that's up there for like the best nickname.
Like, this is his second loss in his last 3 fights, so you want to see him starting to gain a couple wins, especially in that lightweight division. He can make it a lot more fun than it already is. So, but that's pretty much all I've got. Other than that, I agree with you about Kay Hansen. Really good. She looks really good. I mean, in the strawweight division, I never know anymore. The women's division needs something to kick it back off because right now it's kind of boring. But
absolutely, that's why this is big, and now people are gonna know who she is, and maybe she can start picking up steam. Kind of like a Macy Barber in a way,
Yeah.
Very young but very good. And I mean, Macy Barber, she was pretty up there. Unfortunately, she just got hurt, but when she returns, maybe she'll still have that hype around her.
Right. Philip Lins is having a rough couple weeks, and nothing to really say about that first fight. So let's go into the main card right now.
Can I just say one more thing about the Lins fight?
Yeah.
I don't know why these fighters are taking – I mean, I know why, because it's money and it's a check. But trying to do the weight cut and fight twice in the span of 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, they're not winning. I think every fighter that's fought so far, and that span hasn't won a fight. I think every one of them that's like fought,
Yeah.
Second time is lost. So I think the weight cuts are really, hurting these fighters.
Yeah. I mean, it could also be Dana White really being desperate, trying to find some people to fight. You never know.
Oh no, absolutely. I mean, if you're available and you're healthy enough and you want to check, go for it. I mean, it's just, it's not going to be your best quality of fight to put out there for people to know you by. And I mean, like Lynn's got pulled an Overeem and got a highlight reel knockout, put up against him. So
The new Overeem.
The biggest thing in like MMA is in general is like weight cuts. I watched something a while back on like a Cyborg, and the amount of weight she has to cut, it's like, and just watching her do it, she was like going in like the tub, and she's like crying because it's like so hot, and she's like extremely dehydrated, and it's just like it's terrible because it can do some serious damage to your body, like.
Yep.
Especially cutting any more than like 20 pounds is like extremely dangerous. One time, I think it was like Chris Weidman cut 18 pounds in like 2 days. That's just not healthy. Whether it's water weight or whatever, it doesn't matter. It's just not healthy for you to drop that much weight in that short amount of time. It's just not good.
Absolutely. I mean, we saw it with Tony Ferguson too. I really do think, he didn't have to cut weight the first time. It's just,
He just, well, that's Tony. I don't think that's really. I don't think that's an excuse for Tony Ferguson. Tony Ferguson probably does that like every day.
No, Tony Ferguson, the type of guy, cut weight with no fight. But
yeah, he can do anything.
I do think that hurt him though in the long run against Gaethje. But
yeah. All right, now let's move it to the main card here. So. First fight of the night, Julian Erosa defeated Sean Woodson by a Diarca. I can never say. I can never say that.
Choke.
Yeah, there you go. So there you go. What do you guys got to say?
This was a fun fight. I was definitely surprised to see a Darce. He had a standing Darce, took him down, and then locked it in. You never see a Darce. I mean, most people know Tony Ferguson is the guy who uses a Darce, but that was quite impressive. I did not expect that at all, but that was definitely a fun fight to watch.
Yeah, I saw bits and pieces of this one. I know we didn't keep like a score this week, but I wrote down my predictions anyways just to see how good or off I was. In this fight, I was extremely off because I picked Woodson. I'm pretty sure by decision. So I was not I was hoping with a 7-0 record, maybe he could win and like keep building himself up, but didn't work out that way.
Yeah, the thing with Sean Woodson is like he's very like his body's very unusual. Like he has very long arms for his.
I'm watching that. I was like, there's an odd body type.
So like that's really what helps him. But like this fight, he just I don't know what happened. Like he just like had I don't know how to explain it. Like his game plan was just not right. Like, if you have long arms like that, you should be able to keep your opponent at bay, especially if you're Julian Erosa, who's, I think it's significantly shorter, right? Julian Erosa is 6'1", and I guess it's not too hard, but, like, just the reach advantage you should have been able to keep that fight at range and do what you do.
I mean, it's also endurance, though, too. I mean, that came in the third round, halfway through, so – it just depends how much you train for it. And if you because a lot of these fighters plan to get it done in the first, second round, and they gas out by the third. I mean, for someone to lock you into a Darce choke from your feet and get you on the ground and tap you, you got to be pretty tired not to.
Yeah. I mean, I would always say like every fighter should prepare for whether it's a 3-round fight or 5-round fight to go the distance. The only weight class that would be an exception is heavyweight but you still got to prepare for it because if you don't prepare for it and the other fighter drags you into those deep waters, you're going to be screwed. So you got to always prepare for the distance. If you prepare to go in there and just knock them out in the first round, that's your only game plan. Obviously, you can prepare to do that, but you have to make sure your conditioning's up to the level to go to the scorecards because if you're not, you're just going to be embarrassed the last 2 rounds.
Yeah, agreed.
All right, the next fight, we had a beautiful knockout from Takashi Sato against Jason Witt. I mean, this was nice.
Nothing to say. I mean, that was a knockout of the night,
Yeah.
Good on
It's good for
Sato.
Takashi Sato trying to there's not very many Japanese fighters in UFC right now, so it's really good for that. Maybe you can broaden the fight game all the way over there. Be really fun.
Absolutely. Open it up more.
Yeah, quick fight too. It only lasted 48 seconds. So
Yeah.
Yep.
I literally left the room, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna come back to watch a fight." I come back in, it's over. I'm like, "Great, nice."
and
Love when
props
they have.
to Sato for trying to speak English on his post fight interview. I just
Yeah,
want
true.
to just give him a shout out for that. It's not very
Props
easy.
to Mike Perry for trying to speak English during his fight interview.
Oh no.
We'll get to that.
All right. Up next, we had Kyle Dawkins getting defeated by unanimous decision against Brandon Allen. This one was I don't remember this one very much.
I mean, I agree with the decision, but I don't agree with how the judges scored it at all. I would have had a 29-28 across the board. One of them had a 30-27, and one had a 29-27.
Odd
I don't know where that came from. I don't know what fight they were watching. I mean, it wasn't like, this crazy fight, but I don't know. I definitely agree that Allen won, but I would have said it was a much closer fight. I would have definitely said unanimous 29-28 across the board.
Yeah, I agree with that. The scorecard, just looking at them now, is a little bit odd. You usually don't see a 29-27 card. I mean, like a scorecard, right? It's kind of weird.
I mean, everything's just weird nowadays. So
you can never, in kind of any sport, whether it's boxing or MMA, you can never trust the judges to make the correct call. It's too many fighters get screwed. I mean, this fight, the fighter should have won, but I'm saying, like, in so many cases, it's like just ridiculous.
I mean, if you look at stats, Allen did all right, but how do you say the guy's name?
which one? Kyle Dawkins?
Dawkins, yeah, that's it. Dawkins did pretty well. I think Allen won the fight because he got the knockdown, but it was pretty close. I mean, Dawkins had like 3 takedowns, and I don't know. It was a close fight, but I think 29-28 would have, definitely made it fair.
Yeah. So you're pretty much just like grasping at straws at this point. You just don't like how the judges scored the fight, but you agreed with the idea that he won.
Yeah, I just think no, but I mean a 30-27. I mean, come on. If you look at stats and stuff, like that's even watching the fight live without stats, I was like, how do you even get that?
I'll make sure I send this clip to the Las Vegas State Commission there. Maybe get you over there.
I'm probably not the only one. There's probably a lot of people out there.
Probably I probably agree with you too. I just don't remember the fight. Honestly, literally all these fights start to like blend in with one another after a while.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I totally agree.
I only remember the fights that have like good finishes. Like if it's just a boring decision, it's like I don't even remember the fight. Like I'll watch the whole thing, and about 2 hours later, I'll forget I even saw it.
Hey, this is the job of doing this. You gotta remember. You gotta analyze. Even if you don't,
we're getting paid big bucks. That's why.
That's right. That's right. No, Rob, we're just not casuals, bro.
We got big time subscribers. I mean, me and Rob fucking friggin'.
There it is.
We watched a boxing fight in Mexico the other night.
Yeah, exactly. We watched that card after too because we're boxing guys. So it's like. We'll talk about that later. That's a whole separate video in itself. One of the funniest fights I've ever seen. But we'll move on up in this card. All right. So next, probably the weirdest thing we'll ever see. I mean, this fight really just rings 2020. So we had Maurice Green defeating Gian Vellante by an arm triangle, but Green was on the floor. Green was on his back when he gave it.
It was so weird because I'm pretty sure Green won the first 2 rounds, but then Vellante took him down, and it looked like he was doing very well. And I kind of I was texting with Rob, and I kind of looked up, and then the ref was like going like, "It's over," and I was like, "What just happened?" And I was like, "Oh, Vellante probably tapped him from the top," and it was like, "No, Green." And I was like, and I watched the submission. I'm like, I don't even think he had it locked in. I think he was just tired, so he tapped out. I was just like, wow, that was so. And then after the interview that Green had, he was extremely emotional. One of the more emotional interviews I've seen in a while.
Vellante had the fight won. I mean, Green went for a Superman punch, and Vellante caught him with a right and knocked him down. He's just wailed on him, but Green kept himself alive. He just gassed. He just gassed out. I mean, I thought it was – I did say it was an arm triangle because, obviously it looked like that, but they showed an upper camera, view above the octagon. He had one arm around him. He didn't even have the second one locked in. Even the announcers, like Michael Bisping was like, I guess it was kind of an Ezekiel choke, but
basically
they had no idea what happened.
My third
round.
No
idea.
That's what it was. I think he was just tired and it wasn't even cutting off too much circulation. It was just enough for him to be like, nah, it's not even worth it.
Just to restrict, the airway, just enough.
You never know with these heavyweights. You can when they're gassed like they were at that point, you can flick them and they go 10 feet back. So
it's just a shame though, because you got that knockdown literally seconds before that, and you couldn't finish him, and then you tap out.
It kind of reminds me of
wow.
Not exactly how it went down, obviously, but kind of like the Alistair versus Walt Harris fight. It's Walt Harris rocked him, and then it looked like Walt Harris was going to win, but then Alistair ended up winning because Walt Harris didn't necessarily jump on it as quick as he should.
Yeah, he gassed out too quick. That's the problem. These heavyweights put in way too much, gas out, can't get the finish, and then that's it.
Unless you're Francis, then you gotta pace yourself, because Francis can go out there and kill someone in the first round.
But still, though, all he had to do was just sit on Green for a minute, and he won the fight.
Yeah, literally. So
that's it. He could have ate a sandwich and it would have been set.
I don't understand.
You think if Vellante just sat on him and did some ground and pound, do you think that would have been a 10-8 round? Because they were saying it might have been a 10-8 round, and then someone was like, if it's 10-8, then that would be a draw. That's what they're saying.
I don't know.
Yeah,
a 10-8 round has to be completely one-sided. If in MMA at least, boxing, it's a little bit different. If you get a knockout, it's 10-8, but in MMA, it basically has to be completely one-sided. So, I mean, I don't know. It's tough to.
I don't know if I'd give it a 10-8, but Vellante definitely was going to win that fight.
It was just a weird fight, honestly. Weird fight.
That was probably the strangest finish I've
Thank God seen. Dana White wasn't there, because I can only imagine how he would have acted post.
They would have tried. They would have had to resuscitate him. He would have fell on the floor. You kidding?
He's probably watching in Abu Dhabi, because he was in Abu Dhabi setting up the octagon or whatever, looking at it. I think he probably watched it on his phone. He's like, "What is this?"
Unbelievable.
All right, moving up next, we had in the co-main event, Mike Perry defeating Mickey Gall by unanimous decision. And Mike Perry probably gave one of the greatest post-fight interviews I've ever seen.
The government's gonna stop taking his money.
I love how a bunch of fighters put on Twitter after tips on how to not to save your money or whatever.
That's not Mike Perry's style. We all know that. If you know Mike Perry, platinum he ain't saving no money.
If you're Mickey Gall,
he's saving his money on coaches though.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's
for sure. That's true.
Yeah, that's gonna bring up my point. Mickey Gall should really there goes my phone now. Mickey Gall should really rethink fighting, because he lost to a guy who had only his girlfriend, or it was a girlfriend or wife, it's either one of those, in his corner. And she did her one job was to put ice on him, and she didn't even know how to do that.
Yeah, she was just giving him an ice massage with the back. She's just rubbing his back with it,
and he's telling her where to put the ice. He's like, "Can you put it on the back of my head?" And then she's like, the only thing she was saying about the fight was "You're doing good." I could just tell myself that. Thank you very much.
I mean, can we just say though that this means Mike Perry is just the greatest of all time? He just trumped John Jones. Just fought. He fought with no corner and absolutely dominated the fight. That's pretty good.
I'll say this: watching the fight. So Gall, his specialty is on the ground, but it's Perry's too big and strong for Gall to take him down. So he needed to stand up almost with him. and then going for a takedown. And I think he was like 0 for 6 or something. Yeah, 0 for 6 on
Yeah.
takedown. Perry was 1
And
for 1.
Mike Perry landed one. Tough.
Yeah, it's just like Perry was clearly the stronger man. And I've heard that Gall is like a good ground game, but he's not like very good to the point where like he can rely on that solely. So it's kind of like, he's got a 6-3 record. He's definitely gonna polish up on like his stand up and ground game if he wants to stick around in the UFC, because being average at both will not get you far at all. Like Mike Perry is a pretty good like stand up fighter, and his ground game's improved. So he's a much more well rounded mixed martial artist than Mickey Gall. And it's just, you could see the whole fight, it was clear that Perry was better. I mean, it was 29-28, but I mean, which round did they give Gall?
It was a unanimous decision, so I don't even know.
It was 29-28.
So,
I don't know.
28, 20, 29, 28, 29, 28, 29, 28. So they didn't even give one to Gall.
No, they gave him a round though.
Did they?
Yeah.
'Cause I have just a clean sweep.
No, I mean like 29-28. They gave him a round.
They gave
Oh,
Mike
yeah.
Perry all 3, I thought.
No, but that's for the scorecard. But I'm talking about a round. Like
Yeah.
the judge gave him a round. It wasn't a 30-27.
I mean, I honestly think it could have been, but they might have given him a first.
That's what I was
Mickey,
saying. I saw it 29-28, so it means they all had 2 rounds to 1. I didn't see a round that Gall won, to be fair.
yeah, I mean, the first, like, he did throw some nice shots, but Perry answered him back all the way.
It had to have gotten it first.
Yeah, look, Mickey Gall, like, I'm not saying fluke because he's still young in his career, but literally the guy's built a career off beating CM Punk, and I think, Sage Northcutt, like, he shouldn't have got this fight. He's not ready at all. I mean, Mike Perry.
CM Punk's the greatest of all time. Let's be honest.
I mean, if we're talking wrestling, maybe he's in the debate, but not UFC.
I just want to see CM Punk fight one more time and win, and just drop a pipe bomb. That's it.
You have to fight some bomb on the street.
On Dana White. He's gonna hop on the mic. Dana White's gonna stand by.
He's gonna sit cross-legged in the middle of the octagon. Just do it all over again.
That's probably the only person he can beat is Dana White in a fight. We should just set that up.
Yeah, really. Even that, I don't know. Dana's looking pretty buff these days, so.
Yeah, he's probably slow and probably gasses out in like 3 seconds.
I don't know. Yeah, though, Perry looked dominant. This was one of probably the better fights I've seen Perry in, where he like controlled himself, he paced himself well. He could do it on the ground, he could do it on the feet. He looked good, and the fact that he had no corner blows my mind, and he did this well. I mean, props to him.
I think it was the first round. Well, they were throwing some bombs at each other. They were like, you could tell they were both putting a lot of power into it, but it was clear that Perry's power is on a higher level than Gall. I mean, Gall just needs to improve everything, to be fair. It's like his specialty is supposed to be ground game, but he can't even get the guy down. And it's like, if you stand with Mike Perry, you can clearly tell he was at a disadvantage.
Yeah,
I know Gall had the height and reach advantage, but clearly he didn't use that to his advantage in this fight.
Yeah, I mean, Gall's just not ready. When I saw this card, I was like, oh, Mike Perry's fighting. But I was like, why is Mickey Gall in a co-main fight? Weird. He's not there. He's not there.
I was surprised to see that they were both 28 years old. I thought Gall was a bit younger than 28.
Yeah, I did too.
So it's kind of like if they're both 28, Mike Perry's clearly at like a higher level. Gall needs to figure it out soon, because if he gets to like 30 and he's still like 7, if he gets to like 7-4 or something, he's going to be out the door like real quick.
Yeah.
No question.
What do you think Mike Perry gets next?
Ooh, low rank.
Couldn't tell you.
Masvidal. Give him Masvidal.
Oh no, that's not a good fight for me.
I would just like to see the trash talk.
I would say
I don't know. I mean, the only reason he got this fight was because he lost his last 5. I mean, he hasn't won a fight in like 2 years or something like that. Like, they've been solid fights. Except the one, I think it was like Jeff Neal, who knocked him out in the first round. But most of its fights, like against Luque, that was a war. He got on.
Dana White loves him just for that, just because he can make a fight happen.
He makes money. He's not like Conor McGregor level where with like the trash talk and this and that, but he makes it entertaining. So that's huge that he won a fight, because if he didn't win this fight, he might be on his way to Bellator. I don't know.
Hey, don't be
So
trashing on Bellator.
Hey, I didn't say nothing. I mean, I'm just saying they're putting, big country against Frank Mir's main event fights. But,
One
it's
championship. How about
2008,
one
boys.
championship? I don't think Mike Perry's because like if we're gonna rank the top promotions in the world, right? UFC's one by far.
yeah.
Yeah.
Second, that's a toss up between one championship and M1. Then I'd say Bellator, and then I don't care. There's a bunch of other ones, and then down all the way at the bottom, even like these indie promotions, the bottom one is Golden Boy Promotions MMA. That's the worst.
We get Chuck Liddell coming in. Chuck Liddell.
Oh no.
Terrible. I mean, so it looks like Perry's lost to Cowboy. He's beat Alex Oliveira. He's beat Gall, but he's like, yeah, lost to Luque, lost to Neal. So it's kind of tough to give him. I don't really know because I've heard that they want to try to give him someone low and it's like the top 15. So maybe you give him like right now they have Neil Magny at 14. Do you think you maybe give him something like that?
Yeah,
I can see that. Neil Magny fight. I enjoy
Or
that.
Robbie Lawler? You think Lawler?
No, bring why not?
Not yet. Give him Magny, and then if he wins that, I mean, Robbie Lawler versus Mike Perry, that's an interesting fight.
I mean, what else is Robbie Lawler gonna get though?
Yeah, to be fair, he's getting up there in age.
Just
Maybe
give him
fight
Mike Perry.
Robbie Lawler
That could be a war actually if you see that. Like
Oh no, that could be a great fight.
Robbie Lawler is like the definition of like going into an octagon and just like not knowing what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
I remember that fight. Where his lip was like completely off. He had some great fights with like Roy McDonald, stuff like that.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I could see that's a very interesting fight if they make that. But I feel like he'll get the Magny fight before anything.
Yeah, I agree. Or like they have Pettis at 14. I don't know about that. But I don't know if I'd want to see Mike Perry versus. I mean, it could probably be an interesting fight. It'd just be a little bit different. I don't think Pettis would stand there and like just trade with him. He'd kind of pick his shots and it'd be different. Robbie Lawler would straight stand there with Mike Perry and they'll just go at it. That's kind of why I could see that being like either a main event or a co-main on like a fight night. Mike Perry with Robbie. I would love to watch that.
Yeah, that would be a great fight if that happens.
All right, now moving into the heavyweights, fight of the year contender right here. Dustin Poirier defeats Dan Hooker by unanimous decision. This fight, like these guys were throwing absolute cannons at each other.
This is the fight of the year. I mean, when you said heavyweight, you're not wrong. This was the heavyweight fight that I've seen. This is crazy.
The heavyweight fight?
Yeah, you said heavyweight.
Heavyweights.
Did I?
I thought you were trying to be like, slick with the wordplay.
Wait, did I say heavyweight? I said.
Yeah. You said.
This is a heavyweight fight of the night. That's what you said.
Yeah. I thought you were being slick.
I don't even know what it
All right, never mind. I gave you too much credit on that one. I gave you too much credit. No, this fight was amazing. This had everything in it. This had ground game. This had stand up. They were trading bombs like it was the last 20 seconds of the fifth round, and like had halfway through the second round. It was wild.
The first two
unbelievable.
Rounds were on like another level. I texted like both of you guys like in the third round or something saying there's no way this goes 5 rounds, and it went 5 rounds. But it was clear to see that Poirier was. I feel like Hooker may have won the first 2 rounds, and then Poirier won 3 through 5. So he kind of was better in the later rounds, but Hooker was still landing shots. Like some of the shots they were landing on each other was like any of these shots could end a fight usually, but for some reason they could just both take him on the chin. It's ridiculous. The fight was just crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. See, I knew this was going to happen to Hooker because personally, going into this fight, I was like, all right, both of these guys are pretty overrated. I mean, Dan Hooker's being pushed by the UFC. I thought he lost his last fight against Paul Felder, but they're fighting in his hometown. He's not going to lose the decision.
That Paul Felder streak continues.
It does. The curse of the Irish Dragon.
Yeah.
Poirier, he's a good fighter. I wasn't too sold on him before this fight. I mean, now seeing his past fights plus this one, he's legit. I'll give him that. He's not overrated by any means. He's got a solid gas tank. For a guy that size, that's pretty good to go all 5 rounds and do really well, especially in late rounds like that. Hooker just, once he hits the 3rd round, he's done.
Yeah.
He can throw his shots, but it's not compared to the 1st and 2nd round where he's throwing constant shots at you. He really slows down and he has a really hard time. I mean, I was really afraid that the judges were going to tip it towards, Hooker because the push, that would be huge for the New Zealand crowd that, we have like Dan Hooker versus Khabib in a few fights, something like that,
Yeah.
But I'm happy with what the judges, scored it. I thought Poirier won pretty dominantly. I think he did, and I think the judges actually got it right, which I can't believe.
Who do you think Poirier gets next? Because it's kind of tough. Like in that division, it's
This division's really tight right now.
not getting. I don't know. It's weird because so it's gonna be Gaethje Khabib. Do you think you put him in there because they're 3 and 4 right now? You think you put him in there, Tony?
I was gonna say Tony. I feel like that's the obvious answer, but
then you gotta remember that Connor's still there, or at least we think he's still there.
Connor's out right now. Right? Connor's not even in the picture.
To be fair, I don't think Connor fights Poirier. It's a good fight, but I don't think it sells like any of those other ones.
I don't know. I think Poirier can mess him up too. I don't think that's a really smart fight for Connor to take.
I don't know. It's kind of like it's different because Connor's not going to fight how Dan Hooker fought. That's the thing. And Connor has a lot more steam behind his punches than Dan Hooker. He's a bigger guy naturally than Poirier. That's the problem. If you're not, unless you're going to wrestle Connor, if you're naturally the smaller guy, it just never works. It just does not work versus Connor when he gets in there and because he's naturally, I would say if they made a 165 division, that's where Connor would make his money at 165. I don't think Poirier could really be like there. I don't know. It's just kind of like if you watch their first fight, I know it was a long time ago, but to be fair, you could argue that Poirier was more experienced than Connor at that point anyway. So it's kind of like putting them in there again. I don't know if it would necessarily be maybe it goes decision, but I still think Connor's a more precise striker than Poirier.
I mean, physically though, I feel like Poirier's completely different than he was then. He put on a lot more muscle. He looks like he has a lot more power behind his shots too.
But to be fair, Connor's physique has changed a lot more as well. He's not like that skinny little kid anymore. He's more of a you look at him, you're like, oh, this guy fights at welterweight.
But see, that's the thing though. You don't know what he's gonna look like because his last fight was at welter, and then he was at feather. At the beginning. No one knows. This is the thing,
You
don't
Connor's
know
everywhere.
Connor. Yeah.
For all we know, Connor's gonna be fighting in boxing next week. So
yeah, who knows?
He's gonna move. He'll just move up to heavyweight and fight. Francis Ngannou.
Yeah, there you go.
It'd be a good fight, no doubt about it. I just think, I don't know, because what Hooker is a good striker and all, but I feel like with the hands, it's like Connor's on a different level in terms of one shot being able to end the fight. Because it's like he always has that left hand. It's been shown versus Dustin. It's been shown versus Chad. Eddie, Jose Aldo. It's kind of like he's got that equalizer.
I mean, the problem is though that was Connor how many years ago?
Yeah.
5.
But I mean, just look at what he just did to Cowboy. I mean, embarrassing.
It's Cowboy though. I mean, yeah, I agree with you. He definitely has it, but we don't know what we're gonna get. No one knows. I mean, the furthest we've seen was the Khabib fight, and he sucked.
Yeah.
He looked like garbage. He did.
And before that, he fought Mayweather. I don't know. People could say he looked good. He did not look good. I'm sorry. No, he looked like a bum. He looked like a dummy.
Well, in the first few rounds, what's his name? Teddy Atlas. He actually scored 6 rounds to Connor, and he knows a lot about boxing. He scored 6 rounds to Connor, or it might have been 7 actually. It was something like 6 or 7. But
Floyd knew, you gotta wear out the gas tank and then you tee off. So that's the problem with Connor. I mean, I don't know. Dustin Poirier, he's been proving a lot of people wrong lately, including myself. Even against Max, he was not the favorite. Dana White was pissed to give him the belt. He won that fight. I mean, Khabib, he did about as good as you can get. He did catch Khabib, but Khabib had to retreat pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Even this, this was a fight.
This is the dream division right here. Every boxing had that golden age of heavyweights. We're currently in a golden heavyweight age right now. this is the golden age of lightweights in the UFC.
It's kind of like Connor and
Honestly, this is the
Dustin.
golden age in UFC. Like if you like, I feel like this is probably like the best that the UFC's been in its whole history. You really haven't had like these amazing fighters going at each other that much, you know?
I mean, yeah, I would say like top to bottom, like I would say the division's at its fullest with a lot of talent. Yeah, I can agree with that.
But that's like this is multiple divisions though, you know?
I don't know about like top of the top. I don't know if it's necessarily the best. Like the top guys being the best.
Because I mean, there's plenty of legends that could definitely, you know, outstar a lot of these guys. You know, like your Chuck Liddells
or as Oscar likes to say, Chuck Liddell.
Yeah, Chuck Liddell. You know,
but long lost cousin.
There's I don't know, but yeah, I agree though. This is definitely, I would say, like there's competition all over the place besides just the top of the divisions.
Yeah. I mean, the tough thing is like in that Tony fight, I personally don't see Tony losing 2 fights in a row, so I think he would come out there and Dan Hooker's good, but he's not Tony Ferguson. So if Dustin wants to stand and bang with Tony, it's going to be a little bit of a different thing because Tony's very unorthodox. He's got elbows coming in from weird angles and stuff. Yeah. If he hits you with something like that, the only guy that can really stand and bang with Tony, and he did it, was Justin Gaethje. It's kind of like I don't think Poirier is on that level where he's going to be able to – like he's very good, but I don't think he's on the Gaethje level in terms of standing up and just taking it. I think Tony would either catch Dustin and knock him out or go into a decision and win, personally. That's just me.
But you think about it, though. Poirier already beat Gaethje.
Yeah, that's true. But also, if
that's the thing is, like, he's in title contention now.
I mean, granted, I know you're right. Like, the Gaethje we saw against Ferguson was a totally different Justin Gaethje
so the way I see, if I'm Dana White, these are the fights I'm making. You know that Khabib and Gaethje has to happen. There's no argument there. After that, you're going to have problems, right? So Poirier versus Ferguson would have to be the next one.
Yeah.
And then I feel like if you want to push Conor, you maybe put him against Hooker.
I'm sorry, but that fight would not sell.
I'm so done with Conor, bro. I'm so done with Conor. Just make up your mind where you want to fight, if you're even gonna fight, and let's go. Like I'm just so tired of.
He wants Khabib. That's the thing. He wants Khabib. So like that's why he's not fighting Masvidal. Everybody wants him to fight Masvidal, but he doesn't want to go to welterweight.
But
I mean, he's scared though. Like,
I don't think he's. Nah, Conor's not
scared. No, he's definitely not scared.
He's not scared. That's the one thing he's not scared.
I don't know. I mean, he had the Usman fight. He didn't take it.
He doesn't want welterweight. He wants Khabib.
He wants to avenge his loss. That's what he always wants to do. Like,
well, he better get a fight going. I don't know why he took the Cerrone fight at welterweight.
I will say, like, he's not the greatest fighter, but one thing he's not. I don't think he's scared of anyone. I think he'll go in there versus anybody. I don't think he cares.
He has no right to be scared.
He's not scared.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know why you're on it.
He just likes attention. He really likes the attention. That's the thing, and he's not really getting any of it now.
That's the biggest attention fight you can get. Masvidal, the BMF against the Notorious.
But I think he wants.
You can't get any bigger than that for the BMF belt. That's huge. I mean, I don't see the issue fighting at welterweight. He fought Diaz at welterweight. He fought Cerrone. He can do it.
He wants to beat. He wants to try Khabib again because he wants to prove everyone who doubted him, saying like, oh, he can't do this, he can't do that. He wants to like shock the world again. That's the thing he wants. He wants to shock people. If he
guess what though?
Knocks out Masvidal, I don't think it really shocks anybody. I think he could do it. I think
Masvidal's a hype job. Yeah, you don't like Masvidal's not as dope as everybody thinks he is.
Masvidal has 20 losses for Christ's sakes. He's got like a million losses. He's not like he's good and all, but to be fair, I think
he's got one knockout on his name.
I think,
and then a bump fight, or not even a bump fight, like a unfortunate fight against Diaz.
No, he dominated that fight.
It's unfortunate.
But I mean, to be fair, any good fighter at that weight should dominate Nate Diaz. Like in terms of like right now, he's not really.
But I mean, Nate Diaz is a shell of what he used to be.
Yeah, that's a big fact. But like Masvidal.
No, but I agree. I'm just saying though, like it's an easy money fight if you win the BMF belt. Obviously, I agree. Right now, Masvidal is definitely the hype train to be on.
Yeah,
I think he's good, but fight Conor, that's a big money fight. They're both huge names. He's not going to get Khabib. He's
Yeah.
not going to get it. The division's too tight right now.
I don't know about that. He's not going to get him. Eventually, he's going to get him.
When?
You think
Yeah,
Dan?
when he decides.
Do you
decides to
remember how
fight.
much the Khabib Conor fight, the first fight, got pay-per-view wise?
When's he going to fight? When's he going to fight at lightweight? Who's he going to fight?
I don't know.
This is the problem with Conor McGregor. He's his own worst enemy, and he's always in his own way. I love Conor. He's great, but you got to make your mind up, buddy. You know,
I'm looking
you
at
want
Masvidal's
Khabib,
record.
then go fight Tony Ferguson or Dustin Poirier and get yourself in the mix. If you're not going to do that, go sit on your couch and drink Proper 12.
It's weird though. Like looking at Masvidal's record, he's got some bad losses on here. I mean,
Oh, he's got terrible losses.
he lost.
He's
to
a hype job. He got that Askren KO and then skyrocketed like
Dude,
nothing.
he knocked out Darren Till before that, which is probably even bigger than the Askren one because the only fight Till lost before that was T. Woodley.
Yeah, but it's kind of like he lose to Wonder Boy. He lost to Damian Maya. He's lost to Lorenz Larkin. Benson Henderson, Ally Aquenta.
Yeah.
That's not a good one. He lost to. He was fighting low weights. He lost to Gilbert Melendez. Paul Daly. Rafael Assunção, he actually lost to, believe it or not. That sounds weird because they're at completely different weight classes, not even close to each other, but he's actually lost to Rafael Assunção. So it's kind of like Masvidal is good, but if he loses his next fight, depending on who it's against, it's kind of like the hype train's going to end. 35-14 if he gets there. It's just I don't think he's on the level of some of the top guys in the division. Maybe you get him versus like Colby or something. That'd be a good fight. I don't know.
But I mean, if you want to lose a fight, you want to lose to Conor at least because people are like, yeah, but at least all the casuals be like, yeah, but he lost to the greatest of all time.
And he'd make money. That's a big thing.
That's the other thing. He wants money. That's why I'm saying this is the perfect fight. But Conor doesn't know what he wants to do. Next week he'll be moving up to heavyweight. Soon he'll be in like wrestling and judo, throwing competitions. I mean, who knows?
Like Conor always used to tell Dana, the C in UFC stands for Conor. Because he tells Dana what he's gonna do. Dana does not tell him what he's gonna do. He's gonna tell Dana, shut your mouth. You're doing nothing.
I don't know.
Honestly, it's just a weird time.
Yeah, it's just weird. I don't know what's gonna happen. For all I know, it could be Conor versus you could freaking bring Frank Mir out of retirement or something. Conor versus Frank Mir or something.
You gotta look at it, right? Because Dana White, greatest sport commissioner in the world right now, probably of all time. Okay. Hands down, he knows what to do, right? But he knows he has a golden goose right there with Conor McGregor. Could it be possible that he's holding Conor back from not fighting because he wants a crowd? He wants to bank on that money?
Well, yeah, that's obvious. I mean, Conor already said he would fight, with no people, but Dana, swept out under the rug.
How can we blame Conor then if Dana White's not going to make it?
No, I didn't see. Because tell people what you want to do. That's all.
He said he wanted to fight.
A fight at where? Welterweight?
I get what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? What do you want to do? You said you wanted to box. You want to fight UFC. You want Khabib. Then you're talking trash to Usman. What are you doing? You want the BMF belt.
Call a video right now. Give me Conor at 170 right now.
Just make your mind up. That's all. Because right now it's lightweight. You got to go through either Tony Ferguson or Dustin Poirier because Dustin Poirier just cemented himself with that fight that he's legit can go 5. And Tony Ferguson, I mean, he speaks for himself.
I don't know. When he's 60 years old, he might not be able to speak for himself because he's gonna be like.
All right, is that all we got for this episode?
Yeah,
I guess so.
I mean, it was supposed to be a short one. We kind of made it long, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. We ranted on this one.
We talked more about Conor than the main event.
Yeah, exactly.
We really talk about the
honestly
main
fight
event.
of the year. We're talking more about Conor. That's what he does. That's the thing.
Well, no, but I mean it's valid though. Not talking about Conor. Conor always makes his way in the conversation somehow, but it's legit though. What do you do? That division is in deadlock, and if you throw Conor,
does he box? I mean, he can talk to Bob Arum right now. He can go on a top rank fight.
Yeah, we'll go on a Tuesday night.
Yeah.
Jump on there. I mean, I don't know.
Highest rated top ranked card ever.
Yeah, I know. Top rank's not even getting good numbers. They're barely beating cornhole.
Because they put in cards at 11 p.m. in Mexico with like two prospects and then like a big time fighter at the end fighting a bum. So it's like hard to pull numbers when it's like obvious who's gonna win. But we fall for that. We watch it anyways.
Oh, Bob. All right, but I think that's all we got for this episode. Thank you for watching Championship Rounds podcast. Now this one's different. It's a lot more talking than recapping, which I kind of like. But
yeah, it's definitely more free flowing. That's all right. Next week we get the big money.
You got the big one. The big one. The
Good
big
stuff.
one.
I'll be on the prediction video, but I won't be on the one after that probably.
Bruh.
Actually.
I
know.
Oh, he doesn't know. He doesn't know.
I'm gonna be on vacation from the 11th to the 20th, so yeah, I'll miss it.
What are we paying you for then?
I don't know. You can cut my pay if you want. Cut in half.
I don't want a pay cut. I just want to make sure that I'm getting more money than anybody else.
Yeah. I don't want more money. I just want a bigger percentage. Yeah, Masvidal. Makes a lot of sense, Bob. That's probably all those street fights got him talking like a dumbass. But sorry for the swear, but it's worth it.
All right, but thank you for watching the Championship Rounds podcast. I think this has been episode 8 or 9. I'm not sure. I forgot the number.
7, 8, 9, 10. One of those.
What's the difference?
In that range.
All right, but thank you again. This is the third time I'm saying thank you. Thank you for watching the Championship Rounds podcast. Till then, see you next time. Peace.